For the rest of the world, she's a cold-blooded, heartless mistress, but the second her crush walks in, she's a total disaster. Imagine a girl who can literally rule the underworld but has a complete mental breakdown over a simple hello. It's the ultimate power dynamic struggle where the big boss is actually just a blushing mess. So at the beginning of the story, we are shown the discipline committee room. There is a demon girl who is saying that there are all these healthy children in this school who are always busy with their studies. But now a beautiful demon is going to eat them. And then the gate of that room opens and a boy comes in who says, "I am Kyogi Yuji from class 1-2. But then he comes to his senses and says, "Where have I come?" Then his eyes fall on the same demon girl who sees him and says, "I was waiting for you." And she goes to him and says, "You are here because I am going to eat you now. So please forgive me for this." But Yuji was not understanding what that girl was saying. And then that girl comes in her demon form in front of him. A dark aura comes out of her and she says, "I am the daughter of the hungry archdemon Beelzebub. And my name is Kanan Zebel who likes to taste new things. So now let me eat you completely. You are a disgusting creature and you guys might be wondering what's going on here. To find out, we need to go back a bit." After that, we are shown a scene from the past where Kanan comes to her dad and says, "Dad, I want to eat something." So her dad says, "My dear daughter, you will say it and I will not believe it. This cannot happen. Come sit with me and eat." And her dad was behind a big pile of food so he could not be seen. Then Kanan tells her dad that she does not like the food here at all. She wants to eat something more delicious. So her dad starts worrying about her and he says, "You have to keep eating to keep yourself strong, daughter." So Kanan says, "But Dad, I don't like the food here at all. That's why I want to go to a place where I can get a lot of tasty food." So her dad asks her, "What kind of food do you like so much?" Kanan says, "Souls of humans. I want to enjoy eating the souls of those young humans, and I will eat the souls of those humans who are just about to grow up." So her dad says, "Your dad did the same thing once, although because of him a very dangerous war began with the angels." Kanan says, "Everything will be fine. I will not let anyone know." Her dad says, "Anyway, how can I refuse your wish? That's why I give you permission to go." So Kanan says thank you to her dad and starts leaving from there. But her dad stops her and says, "Have you eaten with anyone recently?" But Kanan says, "No, I don't do that because I like to eat alone." "Okay, Dad, I'm leaving now." And she goes from there. After she leaves, her dad says, "I hope you get what you are looking for." After that, we are shown Tama Municipal How Now Academy, where Kanan is now living like a human among humans. And in a short time, she has won the hearts of all the people at the academy. And that's why she is now the head of the discipline committee. Kanan is standing on the roof of the academy and saying, "From now on, this area is mine and you guys are my pets. Now grow up quickly so that your souls can satisfy my hunger." Then, when the academy is closed, all the students are leaving, but Kanan is watching them from behind and scans all the students to see which student's soul is the strongest. She sees a boy who is Yuji. That's why an evil smile appears on her face. She uses her magic to control Yuji and calls him to the classroom. Back in the present, Yuji asks her, "Are you going to eat me?" So Kanan says, "Yes, of course. First of all, I will remove your skin, then I will rub you with my fingers until you become hard and soft." Yuji says, "Really, you will use your fingers?" So she says, "Yes, of course. And after that, I will enjoy it well. That too, completely raw." Hearing this, Yuji gets very excited and says, "Do you want to take it raw now?" Kanan says, "You should feel proud when you are eaten by my hands. That's why you should be grateful to me, you disgusting creature." So Yuji bows down in front of her and says, "Thank you very much, senpai." But seeing this, Kanan gets scared and says, "Are you really proud?" And her aura drops completely. Yuji says, "Yes, this is a matter of pride for me because I will not get more happiness than this from anything else." Kanan says, "I have to praise you. I thought you would be afraid of my words." But he says, "How can I be afraid? It has been my dream to be eaten by a demonic girl like you, senpai, and you have changed your clothes and aroused more passion in me because these demonic clothes look very good on you." After hearing this, Kanan starts feeling very awkward. While blushing, she says in her mind, "Who is this crazy person?" After hearing about being eaten, he understood it in a completely wrong way. "I forgot that high school boys always think about dirty things in their minds." That's when Kanan snaps back to reality and says with an attitude, "Now my food feels like it can have a relationship with me. Dude, you are a very stupid animal." Then she thinks in her mind, "By the way, this is good for me. When we are getting intimate, then I will steal his soul. But there is one problem, I am still a virgin." And thinking about this, she feels very shy. That's when Yuji takes off his clothes and gets ready to get intimate. But Kanan says, "Hey, wait, isn't this a thing that only two people do who love each other very much?" But Yuji gets more excited and says, "I have no problem with that. Because senpai, when I saw you for the first time, that's when I fell in love with you. And you called me here, that means you also love me, right, senpai?" As soon as Kanan hears the word love, she gets lost in her own thoughts, realizing she hasn't been in love with anyone for thousands of years. Looking at his body, she feels shy and says to herself, "He's just my type of boy." That's when Yuji comes to her and screams, "Senpai, I love you," and he repeats it again and again. Kanan says, "Hey, wait, give me time to think." She gets lost in the depths of her thoughts, wondering if it will be right to have her first time with this disgusting animal. That's when Yuji puts his clothes back on and says, I think I've bothered you too much. So if we can't go to the last step, then how about the third step? Kanan says, keep dreaming. Yuji says, then how will the second step be? Hearing this, she says, no, you pervert. Then Yuji suggests that they should date each other to start. After hearing the word date, Kanan calms down and says, I think I can do this. Yuji gets very happy and says, thank you for saying yes, so we'll meet tomorrow. He says this and leaves. Then Kanan feels shy and asks herself, how did I deal with this? You disgusting creature. After that, the scene of the next day is shown where in the class, Yuji's friend asks him, Yuji, can you help me clean our temple again on Sunday? But Yuji says, I don't think I can do it because I'll be stuck at work, so forgive me, Masuro. But after hearing this, the girl gets angry and says, I always tell you not to call me by my surname. Call me Nadiko. Yuji says, it takes time to get rid of old habits. Then Nadiko asks him, tell me, why are you saying that you are going to be busy when you are always free? Yuji says, I have a girlfriend. After hearing this, Nadiko gets very shocked and asks him, when did you get a girlfriend? I thought you were a quiet boy, but you did a great job. Okay, so tell me, what do you call each other when you talk? Yuji says, she is 1 year older than me, so I call her senpai. But Nadiko says, don't hide it from me. I know you must be calling each other by your real names. After hearing this, Yuji gets very shocked. After that, we are shown Kanan, who is looking at the students and saying, once you grow up, after that you will be my food. But then the window in front of her opens and Yuji comes out and says, senpai. Seeing this, she gets scared and says, will you stop appearing suddenly? Yuji says, senpai, call me by my real name because I want us to call each other by our real names as proof of our closeness. Hearing this, she thinks in her mind, this disgusting creature is really greedy. But then her devilish smile returns and she says, okay, so you want me to call you by your real name? She thinks in her mind that this is a good way to show these animals their place. But she sees that Yuji is really very excited because he wants Kanan to call him by his real name. First, she gets shy, then she gets back her attitude and says, so always be grateful to me. Now listen carefully. And then she starts saying his name, but she stops in the middle and gets very shy. She asks herself, am I really not able to say his name? After all, why am I so shy? She motivates herself again that she can say his name. But when she tries to say his name again, she is not able to do it. Then Yuji says, is it possible that you are too shy to say my name? Kanan gets nervous and says, no, it's not like that. So he apologizes to her. Kanan says, if you want me to say your real name so badly, then you will have to say my real name before that. But before her words are finished, he says her name. After hearing her name from his mouth, Kanan starts liking it a lot. She understands that Yuji also wants this and he wants to hear his name spoken from her mouth. Then Yuji says, now it's your turn, say my name, Kanan. And he starts saying her name again and again, because of which Kanan is not able to stay in her senses. She slowly backs into the corner of the cupboard. When he says her name again, this time she is so shy that she does not understand at all why she is having so much fun. But then she slaps him and says, you have come too close. Stay in your limits, you disgusting animal. But even after getting slapped, he starts thanking her. After that, Kanan says in anger, okay, I'm going home now. And before going, she says, okay, I'll meet you later, Kyoyugi-kun. She feels shy after saying this. But while running away from there, she says, you will have to pay for this, you disgusting creature. But Yuji says her name again, because of which she trips and falls. After that, when she is going back to her classroom, she thinks in her mind, what is happening to me? Whenever I am near Kyoyugi-kun, I act like this. She then sees a boy and a girl romancing there. Kanan starts scolding them and says, these dirty things break the rules of the school. Seeing her, they recognize that she is the head of the discipline committee, so they run away quickly. After that, she goes somewhere else and sees from the window that there are a lot of children sitting very close to each other and talking romantically. Seeing this, Kanan is even happier that now they will grow up soon and their souls will taste better. But then Yuji comes from behind and says, it looks really good to see, right, senpai? Because of his sudden arrival, she gets very scared and thinks, when did Kyoyugi-kun get here? But this time I will show him his place. She steps away from him and says, why did you come here? Yuji asks, why did you step away from me? And yes, we are lovers now, so I want to spend as much time with you as possible. Hearing the word lovers, she feels shy. Then Yuji asks her, by the way, senpai, what do you think? Where should we go to make our first date memorable? I know for sure that you also want our first date to be very memorable, right? Hearing this, Kanan feels very shy and thinks, has this boy come here to decide where we will have our first time together? He is really a disgusting animal. At least I should take him to dinner first. And anyway, it is very important to get married before starting all this. That's why she acts normal and asks him, where do you want to go? He says, I think we should go to a nearby park. Hearing this, Kanan starts imagining how he is going to do all that with her in an open place. That's why she scolds him and says, you are really very perverted. I won't agree to this, because if someone sees us, it will be very embarrassing. Yuji says, I didn't even think about it, forgive me. So how about the cinema? Hearing this, she says no. So Yuji gives one more suggestion that they should go somewhere else. She gets excited and says, so tell me, where are we going? Yuji says, how about a hot spring? She hits him in her imagination with a tub and says, "Did you think I'd say I can't wait to take a bath with you? You really are a stupid person." She shouts, "Our first date should be in a closed room, right?" Then she says to herself, "What am I saying?" She starts panicking and blushing, but Yuji notes that Kanan wants him to take her to his room for their first date. Kanan says, no, this shouldn't happen. But Yuji says, "I would love to fulfill your wish." He comes close to her and says, "Okay, let's go to our memorable first date." Hearing this, she feels very shy, but then she says, "Okay, that's right, this is a first date. Don't think that I misunderstood something. And remember, I will only come to your room when your mom and dad are at home." She feels shy saying this. Then she runs away from there and yells, "You are a disgusting creature." She runs away saying this. After that, school is over and Kanan is shown saying, "Now you disgusting creature, go to your home quickly, and wait for that day when I will eat you with my lovely teeth." Then Yuji comes there and says, "Senpai, let's go home together." Hearing this, she gets shocked and says, "Why do I have to go home with you?" Yuji says, "Because I am your boyfriend." Hearing this, Kanan's heart beats very fast. She tells her heart not to beat so hard and she says to Yuji, "Do you really want to go home with me? Dude, what should I do with you?" After that, the two of them start walking out of the school together. But Kanan is not able to walk next to him because her heart is beating so fast. Yuji asks, "What happened, senpai? Why are you not walking next to me?" Hearing this, she makes an excuse that a special person like her is always in danger of death. "That's why I'm making you my shield while walking." Yuji says, "That means you trust me. If that's the case, I'll come closer to you now because it's dangerous to stay away from each other." But after coming so close to him, Kanan gets very shy. Then Yuji says, "Okay, senpai, let's hold hands." But Kanan hears this and thinks that if she holds his hand, she will get pregnant. Is this person a demon? But if I refuse, he will think that I am not able to make a decision. What should I do after all? After a while, as they are walking together, people start looking at them. This happens because Kanan tied Yuji's hands with a rope and was dragging him away. She says to Yuji, "Now our hands are close to each other, so tell me how it feels." But Yuji finds this very interesting. Kanan says, "Are you kidding?" But Yuji says, "You want to keep me with you so badly that you use chains. You definitely want to control me with your body and mind, right? I can really feel your love, senpai." After hearing all this, her face turns completely red and she says, "I didn't mean that. You will have to pay for this, you disgusting creature." And she starts running away. While leaving, she thinks, "Kyoga-kun always distracts me from my work. I didn't come into the world of humans to do all this useless stuff." But then Kanan hears Yuji's voice screaming, "Senpai!" Kanan thinks it's just her illusion. But when she looks back, Yuji is still tied up in her chains and Kanan is dragging him away. She asks him, "How did you end up like this?" Yuji says, "Because you were holding me in chains and dragging me away." She says in a blushing voice, "Wait, will you stop talking like this, like I'm your clingy girlfriend?" Then Yuji says, "Senpai, I've never been on such a dangerous date before. I really enjoyed it a lot." Kanan says, "Man, how do you find fun in everything?" Yuji says, "Because it made me feel like a pet animal." Kanan gets angry and says, "Don't turn an accident into a pet animal scene," and she goes to the other side. Then Yuji says, "Now that we're here, senpai, I want to do something with you." Kanan remembers that he wanted to do something in the park. She thinks about the same intimate scene she had thought of before, which makes her very shy. But after a while, she finds out that Yuji just wanted to eat a cutlet with her. After that, Yuji tells Kanan, "I always wanted to sit here with my girlfriend and have a snack." Kanan asks in a blushing voice, "Okay, so this is what you wanted to do here." Yuji asks her, "Was there something else on your mind?" She gets even more shy and shouts, "No, that can never happen. By the way, is there no sauce or anything with it?" Yuji tells her that it tastes better without sauce, but Kanan wants to eat it with sauce. Yuji keeps insisting on his point and he starts talking passionately about that cutlet. Because of his passion, a lot of imaginary light starts coming out of that cutlet. Kanan says with a smile, "I thought all boys were the same, but I didn't know that you could be so emotional over a normal cutlet. Okay, I'll eat it like this at your request." And while eating it, she thinks in her mind, maybe it's very good to be with someone while eating. She takes a bite of that cutlet, which she finds very tasty. Yuji also says that it tastes very good today. And this is for sure because I am eating with my senpai today. Kanan also understands that eating together makes the food taste much better and she starts eating fast. She looks at Yuji who is staring at her. She asks him, "What are you looking at?" Yuji says, "I was just thinking how cute you look when you eat." Listening to this, she gets completely shy and mutters, "You disgusting creature." After that, the underworld scene is shown again where Kanan's dad is very worried about her. Then a maid comes there whose name is Ami. She says, "Master, you are very worried." So Beelzebub says, "Ami, do something to calm my mind." Ami replies, "Master, leave everything to me. I will take good care of the young miss," and she smiles evilly. Then we are shown the scene of the next day where Kanan wakes up after sleeping. By the way, she doesn't need to sleep because she is a demon, but to live among humans, she acts as if she is sleeping. Kanan has made a human family in the human world so that no one doubts that she is not a human. After that, when it is time for her to go to school, she says goodbye to everyone and leaves. But when they start to wake up, Kanan quickly controls them again with her magic. When she steps outside, she sees that Yuji is standing there watching her. This makes her feel very shy and surprised. She asks him, "What are you doing here, Kyoyugi-kun?" Yuji says, "I'm your boyfriend, that's why I want to go to school with you." She replies, "Stop talking like a popular boy, and most importantly, how did you know that I live here?" Yuji tells her that his teacher told him about it. His teacher was actually excited to see how they were going to fall in love with each other. Hearing this, Kanan says to herself, "She leaked my personal information." Then Yuji says, "Let's go to school together, senpai." Kanan agrees, "Okay, you can come with me, but you have to match my speed." She starts running fast from there. While running, she is thinking in her mind, "This can never happen. I will not go to school with Kyoyugi-kun. If someone sees us, I will die of shame. And Kyoyugi-kun, your fate is bad because I am a devil, so I can run very fast." But then her stamina runs out. She says, "I forgot that stamina is the one thing I have never been good at." Yuji catches up to her and asks, "Senpai, what happened? Are you tired?" To save her pride, Kanan says, "They say that behind every great man there is a woman greater than him." She feels proud, thinking she said something very profound. Then Yuji says, "By the way, senpai, what you just said is meant for a husband and wife." Hearing this, Kanan is very surprised. Yuji asks, "Senpai, you didn't know about this?" She quickly replies, "Yes, I knew," but she is extremely embarrassed. Yuji then offers her his water bottle and says, "I think you should drink some water, and I also want to drink some, so leave a little for me." When Kanan takes the bottle, she thinks, "If I leave water for him, it will be an indirect kiss." Because of this thought, she drinks all the water, throws the bottle, and yells, "Stay in your place, you stupid animal." After that, both of them reach the school. But then Ami also arrives there and spots Kanan. She approaches her and asks, "Young miss, how are you?" As soon as Kanan sees her, she quickly grabs Ami and drags her away. She takes her to the discipline committee room and asks, "What are you doing here?" Ami presses her chest against Kanan and says, "Young miss, I have come here to serve you." Kanan pushes her away and says, "Don't lie to me." Then Yuji walks in and asks, "Who is this, senpai?" Even though she doesn't want to, Kanan tells him, "She is a maid from my family and her name is Ami. When I was little, she took care of me." Hearing this, Yuji is a little shocked. Kanan says to Ami, "I know for sure that my dad sent you here." Ami again presses against her affectionately and says, "Leave it now. We are childhood friends. Our relationship is much more than just a master and a servant." But Kanan thinks in her mind, "I will never introduce her to Kyoyugi-kun, otherwise she will suck his soul because she is a hunting succubus." She immediately goes to Yuji and says, "Kyoyugi-kun, you shouldn't go near that maid. She is dangerous. That's why you should keep your distance from her." Ami looks at Yuji and can see his soul very clearly. Because of this, she grabs him, climbs onto him, and says, "I have to taste it." Kanan quickly pulls Ami away from Yuji and shouts, "You can't go near Kyoyugi-kun because he is mine." Ami asks, "What do you mean yours?" Kanan declares, "He is my boyfriend." Hearing this, Ami gets very excited. "Really? Now your 1,000-year-old virginity is about to break with a human, so tell me, how far has the young miss reached with him so far?" Kanan feels shy and says, "We both go home together, eat together, and hold each other's hands, and we also call each other by our real names." Hearing all this, Ami cannot believe that Kanan is being shy about such small things. She grabs Kanan playfully and says, "Young miss, are you crazy? You have lived for thousands of years and you are still making things so difficult. Just press yourself against him and he will fall in love with you." Kanan replies, "That would be cheating." Ami teases, "If that's the case, I'll take this boy with me." But Yuji acts like a good boyfriend and says, "There is no need for this, just one girl is enough for me, and that is Kanan senpai." Kanan is blushing hard hearing this and mutters, "What the hell are you talking about?" while looking away. Ami casually adds, "By the way, I am ready for a threesome." Kanan snaps, "Don't talk too much," but Ami holds Yuji's hand and says, "It doesn't matter to me if you keep one or two more girls next to you, just include me in the fun too." Kanan yells, "I told you to stay away from her," but Ami is clinging to him a little too much. Yuji asks, "Senpai, have I become very popular?" Hearing this, Kanan gets angry and says, "Stop your nonsense, you disgusting creature." A scene is shown a little later when Kanan is walking to her room. On the way, she sees a lot of students lying around in bad shape, but they are all smiling. Following the trail of bodies to a room, she catches Ami and a teacher getting intimate together. Kanan sees her and shouts, "Ami, what are you doing?" The teacher runs away in a panic, yelling, "My student caught me in a romantic affair." Looking at Kanan, Ami behaves as if nothing happened. Kanan scolds her, "There is no need to show off too much. Tell me, why are there so many corpses in the corridor?" Ami starts making excuses. Kanan interrupts, "Don't lie, you know this academy is my soul farm, and if someone comes here and steals my souls, I won't like it." Ami retorts, "It's your fault for starting so slowly." Kanan defends herself, "It's not like I'll just eat anyone's soul." Ami smirks, "What are you trying to say, that I am okay with just anyone. Kanan demands, then tell me, what were you doing with that little girl? Ami simply says, she was cute, that's why. Kanan points to an old man on the floor and asks, so what do you think about him? Ami replies, he was a lot of fun, that's why. Kanan points to a naughty student and asks, so what about him? Ami answers, he was giving me good feels. Kanan points to a fat guy and asks, so what about this fat guy? Ami smiles and says, he is a good person. Kanan gets frustrated and says, hey, you are fine with everyone. Ami replies, they all have different charms, and she starts praising each of them. Kanan realizes that this is why people always treat Ami so well and why she becomes popular so quickly, because she genuinely sees the good side of people. Realizing this, Kanan apologizes to her for misunderstanding. Ami humbly says, I'm not that special. Kanan warns her, okay, but don't do this next time, because it's difficult for me to erase their memories again and again. Ami agrees, okay, I'll leave the students alone and do whatever I want with the rest of the people. Then Kanan asks, by the way, do you find Kyoyugi attractive too? Ami looks closely at Kanan's blushing face and smirks, saying, this is a secret. Kanan asks, why is that? Ami teases, what happened? Are you jealous, miss? Kanan quickly denies it, no, I'm not. But after a while, Kanan gets very worried. She thinks that if she doesn't keep a close eye on him, Ami might take Yuji away. Then, she gets an idea. Later, when she is with Yuji, she tells him, Kyoyugi-kun, remember this, if you see anyone doing anything wrong, tell me. Yuji smiles and says, I'll be happy to help you. Hearing this, Kanan feels happy. She thinks to herself, now I know what having a pet animal is like. You are my pet animal, okay, so don't go to anyone else. As they walk ahead, a girl drops some of her stuff. Yuji bends down to help her pick it up. Looking closely at Yuji's face, the girl instantly falls in love with him. Kanan immediately steps in between them and says, Kyoyugi-kun, she can help herself, right? The girl nervously agrees and hurries away. Kanan asks Yuji, Kyoyugi-kun, tell me, are you popular? Yuji shrugs and says, who knows? Kanan quickly adds, don't think that I was jealous, okay? However, one by one, more girls keep approaching him, and looking at his looks, they keep falling in love with him. Seeing all this, Kanan starts feeling extremely jealous. Finally, Kanan scolds him and says, who are you? After all these girls keep falling in love with you again and again. Do I have to remind you of your status? Do you know what you are to me? Yuji calmly replies, your boyfriend. Kanan says to herself, he knows. Then Kanan adds, it's a good thing as long as you know it. Just then, Yuji receives a message on his phone. He checks it, and it is from Masaru asking him to have lunch with her. Kanan notices that it's a message from a girl and asks him about it. Yuji explains, she is a childhood friend of mine. But when Kanan reads the message closely, she sees that Nadeko is calling him over so she can eat his lunch. Seeing this, Kanan snatches the phone from him and shouts, don't let her take over you by eating it, you fool, you weird animal. After that, she stomps ahead in anger. Yuji follows and asks, Senpai, are you angry? She crosses her arms and says, no, I'm not angry. But then she stops, gently bumps her head against his chest and rubs it against him. She says softly, you and I are bound by a contract. That's why you can't go to any girl other than me. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yuji looks down and sees that there are tears in her eyes. He smiles warmly and says, you're very cute, senpai. When you're jealous, you look very cute. Kanan pouts and replies, I'm not jealous. Yuji starts gently stroking her head. This makes her calm down and she actually starts enjoying it a lot, leaning into his touch. Yuji is treating her just like a cat. Watching all this from a distance, Ami smiles and says to herself, maybe this is right for the young miss because she looks much happier like this. Then we are shown the teacher from earlier, the one Ami was intimate with. Ami had finished doing her things with him, and because of it, the teacher is lying there looking completely exhausted but very satisfied. After that, the scene of the next day is shown where Yuji comes to have lunch with Nadeko. But Kanan also shows up there and sees both of them together, which makes her very angry. She asks Yuji, who is this girl? Yuji tells her, she is my childhood friend and classmate and her name is Masaru. Nadeko quickly adds, my name is Nadeko. She grabs Yuji's collar and scolds him, how many times have I told you not to call me by my surname? Seeing them so close, Kanan gets even more angry. After that, Nadeko explains that she and Yuji are very old friends. Just then, Ami appears out of nowhere and says, so, childhood friends, have you both done anything fun together? Kanan asks Ami, since when have you been here? But Ami ignores her and presses Nadeko, now tell me, have you both done anything fun together or not? Nadeko replies, not much, but in our childhood we used to play together in the park and also have sleepovers. Oh, and I remember, once when we slept over, Yuji wet the bed. Yuji quickly defends himself, I just spilled some juice. But after hearing all this, Kanan is in utter shock and her anger starts boiling over. She glares at Nadeko with a terrifying terrifying look. Nadeko feels Kanan's deadly gaze and shivers, asking, "Why am I feeling so cold?" She realizes that Kanan is furious with her. She nervously asks Yuji, "Who is this girl?" Yuji replies, "I told you, she is my girlfriend." Hearing this, Nadeko finally understands why Kanan is so angry at her. She quickly stands up to clear the misunderstanding and says, "It's not what you think. Our parents are friends, that's why we hang out. I mean, we are not dating," Kanan coldly says, "Making excuses won't help you." Nadeko panics and tries to explain further. "Everyone in our families knows each other. We are neighbors too. That's why we sometimes go together to buy things. Even today, we just came to buy something. This is not a date," Kanan says. "Okay, I understand." Nadeko sighs in relief, thinking the matter is resolved. But then Kanan transforms into her devil form and says, "I understand that I should finish you right here so that your story ends today." Seeing this, Nadeko gets terrified. She begs Yuji to make Kanan understand. But Yuji is completely lost in his own thoughts. Looking at Kanan in her demon form, he thinks, "Is she a goddess? I am so happy to see her smile." To save herself, Nadeko starts praising Kanan and Yuji, saying, "You two look like a perfect couple," and many other compliments. But Kanan is not affected by this at all. She threatens, "Now I am going to skin you," and starts moving towards her. Seeing this, Nadeko starts crying. She yells, "I think you and Yuji are made for each other," and backs away. But Kanan still isn't listening. In desperation, Nadeko shouts as loud as she can, "I think you are Yuji's wife." Hearing the word wife, Kanan instantly calms down. Blushing furiously, she stammers, "No, no, no, don't say that so soon. I am not his wife yet." Nadeko thinks to herself, was it really that easy? Kanan then walks up to her and asks softly, "Okay, your name is Nadeko, right?" Nadeko nods. "Yes." Kanan says, "I like you." Nadeko can't believe what she just heard. Kanan is still extremely shy because Nadeko called her Yuji's wife, but surprisingly, Nadeko realizes her own heart is beating very fast. She thinks, "Why is my heart racing?" It was because someone had spoken to her with the commanding tone of a higher being. After that, we are shown a scene at Kanan's house. Ami pours a cup of tea for Kanan, but then she drinks it herself. Ami smiles and says, "Today I got to see a lot of good things, but I really thought I was going to see a catfight there." Kanan replies, "That was never going to happen, and anyway, it was Yuji's fault. He made a love contract with me, so he shouldn't hang out with any other girl. Having lunch with another girl is something that I..." Ami steps closer and asks, "Something that you what?" Kanan finishes her sentence, which I would never want to do because I am a devil. All this romantic stuff does not suit me. Ami smirks and says, "It's a good thing though." Then, Kanan picks up her fake human younger brother, pulls his cheek and mutters, "He shouldn't have done all this." Ami watches her and says, "I think you are getting romantically attached to him. Did you forget why you came here?" Kanan suddenly realizes and says, "Oh yes, I forgot. I want to eat his soul." She casually tosses her younger brother aside and adds, "If I want to eat his soul, then I don't need to do much. I just have to defeat him and he will willingly give me his soul." Ami suggests, "If that's the case, you should ask him out on a date." As soon as Kanan hears the word date, she blushes heavily and stammers, "A date?" Ami explains, "Because you can make him fall in love with you. Anyway, you are already lovers, so you should date." Kanan nervously replies, "But how can we just start dating like this? I will have to meet his parents first, or I will have to make a formal contract with him. There are many things to do first." Ami sighs, "What nonsense are you talking about? You just have to ask him out and go on a date with him. And then when you bring him to your house, push him down and eat him right there." She teasingly bites Kanan's ear. Kanan pushes her away, blushing wildly, and says, "No, no, no, I can't do this." Ami smirks, "If you skip the last step, you shouldn't have any problem with this. But what is really stopping you?" Kanan stays silent. Ami then starts manipulating her, saying, "If you don't do it soon, he will start dating another girl. And I don't think the daughter of a great archdemon would want to lose to a human girl." Hearing this, Kanan gets fired up and says, "Yes, okay, I will do it." Ami gets excited and cheers, "Come on, young miss, I'll help you with this." Kanan, using an evil tone, declares, "Now you just keep watching, Yuji. I'm going to show you what a devilish date is like." Hearing her talk like this, Kanan's fake human parents whisper to each other, "Oh, so she's talking about love, it's so much fun." The next day at school, Kanan tries to ask Yuji out on a date but struggles to get the words out. Ami whispers to her, "Just ask him, you don't have to worry so much." But Kanan keeps beating around the bush, making no sense, and Yuji can't understand what she's trying to say. Frustrated, Kanan finally loses her temper, grabs Yuji by the collar and yells, "I'm giving you so many hints and you still don't understand. I want to go on a date with you, so meet me at the station at 11 o'clock this weekend. Did you understand what I said?" Yuji smiles and says, "Yes." Kanan storms out and shouts back, "If you're even a second late, I'll kill you." Once she is outside Outside, she leans against the wall, holding her chest as her heart beats rapidly. She whispers to herself, "I asked him for a date." Ami pats her back and says, "You did a great job." Finally, the weekend arrives. They go to a sky tower in Japan, which is incredibly high up. Kanan had made a strategy. She planned to act scared of the height so she could lean on Yuji for support and then use that moment to steal his soul. Putting her plan into action, she says, "Yuji, go and see how good the view is over there." But Yuji stays back and replies, "Senpai, the view isn't that good from there either," completely ignoring the window. Seeing this, Kanan is confused as to why he is ignoring her. She wonders, is Yuji afraid of heights? She tries to approach him, but he keeps taking steps back to keep his distance. Annoyed, Kanan says, "Come here." She reaches out, grabs his hand, and pulls him close. But as she pulls him, her hand accidentally brushes against her own chest. She suddenly realizes that today she forgot to wear a bra. Yuji looks away nervously and says, "Senpai, did you not wear a bra today?" Kanan's face turns beet red and she snaps, "You don't have to say it out loud." Then she asks, "Were you ignoring me because of this?" Yuji nods, "Yes." Embarrassed, Kanan sits down to hide herself. Yuji asks, "What happened, Senpai? Did you do it on purpose or by mistake?" Trying to save face, Kanan makes an excuse. "Actually, my intention was to make your heart beat fast, so tell me, did it work?" Yuji admits, "Yes, it worked. My heart is beating very fast." To make matters worse, she tries to say more bold things to act confident, but she is clearly dying of embarrassment. After a while, they are sitting together, and Kanan feels extremely awkward about the situation. To cheer her up, Yuji tries to feed her with his own hands. Kanan gets defensive and says, "What do you think you are doing? Do you think you have the status to feed me with your own hands?" Yuji replies gently, "I saw that you were feeling sad, so I thought I would feed you myself." Kanan thinks to herself, well, it is pretty shameful to go out without a bra. Accepting his gesture, she leans in and lets him feed her. After eating, she feels a sense of accomplishment and says, "I finally did it." But when she looks at Yuji, she sees him smiling widely. She asks, "Why are you smiling?" Yuji replies, "I'm just feeling happy." Hearing this, Kanan decides to tease him. She picks up a piece of food and offers to feed him. Yuji is overjoyed and leans forward to take a bite, but right before he can eat it, Kanan pops the food into her own mouth. Laughing, she says, "See that? I just showed you your status." Surprisingly, Yuji isn't sad at all. He just smiles warmly and says, "Senpai, I am happy just seeing you smile." Looking at his genuine, loving smile, Kanan's heart starts beating out of control. She quickly sits down and looks away. She asks herself, "Why am I looking away? Could it be that I am really falling in love with this lower-class creature?" Yuji adds, "Senpai, if this makes you happy, I would love to do it again and again." Kanan thinks to herself, "Here I am trying to eat your soul and you are just trying to make me happy. Whenever I am with you, I just can't stay calm. That's why I'll hold off on eating your soul for now, at least until I understand what these feelings are." She picks up another piece of food and says, "Let's do it again." Hearing this, Yuji misunderstands her completely. Kanan quickly corrects him, "I meant I will feed you. Why are you misunderstanding this?" Yuji says innocently, "But I thought you were talking about doing something else." Kanan yells, blushing furiously, "Keep your mouth shut, you disgusting creature." After that, the scene of the next day is shown where Ami is looking at photos on her phone. She says to herself, "Finally, my lady went on a date with her boyfriend, so now that her dating problem is over, the next step is kissing and then getting physical." She gets very excited saying this. After that, the scene shifts outside where all the girls are coming back from gym class. Kanan is also walking back, complaining, "Man, whenever we have gym class in this hot weather, I sweat so much." Just then, Yuji arrives and stands right in front of her. Both of them feel a bit shy looking at each other. Ami is secretly watching all this from a distance, whispering to herself, "Their chemistry is looking very good. This is a perfect chance for them to move their relationship forward." Yuji takes a step closer, but Kanan quickly says, "Don't come near me." Seeing this, Ami is very surprised and Yuji doesn't understand why Kanan is saying this. He steps closer again and asks, "Senpai, don't you like me anymore? Or did I do something to make you hate me?" But Kanan keeps backing away from him. Yuji gets dramatic, pretending to cry and says, "Senpai, even after so much love, you are not letting me come near you. I knew it, you only wanted my body." Kanan screams and says, "Hey, stop this nonsense. Okay, I'll tell you why I told you to stay away. I was telling you to stay away because I am drenched in sweat." Because she screams so loudly, she starts panting. Hearing this, Yuji instantly gets excited and says, "Senpai, I want to smell your sweat." Kanan is disgusted and says, "Is there a problem with your brain?" But Yuji argues, "What are you saying? This is the fragrance of youth that every man wants to smell. How can I not smell it?" Kanan replies, "There is seriously something wrong with your mind." Yuji gets teary-eyed and says, "If it's yours, I would even wear your unwashed socks as a mask." Kanan cringes and says, "Yuck, yuck, that is so gross and perverted." But Yuji Yuji can't control himself anymore and starts walking toward her so he can smell her. Kanan starts backing up, but she accidentally bumps into a tree. Yuji says, "This is the scent of the person I love very much." Hearing him say this, Kanan starts feeling extremely shy. She finally gives in and lets him smell her. Yuji sits down and starts taking in her scent. Kanan feels embarrassed, but then a thought triggers in her mind. She thinks, wait a minute, why am I enduring so much humiliation? I can't believe Kyoyugi-kun is using me for his perverted desires. In a situation like this, I look like a dirty girl too. But when she looks down at Yuji, she sees that he is completely mesmerized and intoxicated by her scent. Seeing him like this makes her even more shy, and she doesn't know what to do. Just as Yuji is about to say something about her fragrance, Kanan tries to silence him. But Yuji simply says, "Senpai, your detergent smells very good." Kanan deadpans, "I thought you were smelling me, not my detergent." Just then, Yuji's towel drops, so he picks it up and offers it to her. When Kanan takes his towel and wipes her face, she realizes she actually likes Yuji's scent very much. She immediately understands why Yuji wanted to smell her so badly. But then she snaps back to her senses, thinking, oh no, now I look like a pervert. From behind, Yuji asks, "Senpai, what smell is coming from my towel?" Kanan gets a little flustered but quickly denies it, saying, "There is no smell coming from it, and let me tell you, I wasn't smelling it." Watching all this, Ami sighs and says, "At this rate, it will take them thousands of years to move forward. I have to do something." After that, Kanan and Yuji are walking down the corridor. Kanan complains, "I can't hear people's voices very well right now. Usually I can hear voices from far away." Yuji replies, "Senpai, you are amazing." Suddenly, Kanan hears a whisper right in her ear saying, "You should clean your ears." It is Ami, secretly whispering it over and over. Hearing this, Yuji makes Kanan lay her head on his lap and says, "Senpai, I will clean your ears for you now." Seeing this, she feels incredibly shy and asks, "What are you doing, Kyoyugi-kun?" Yuji smiles and says, "Senpai, leave it all to me. I am very good at cleaning ears." This makes her blush even harder. She thinks to herself, is it possible that what I always wanted I am finally going to get? She agrees and says, "Okay, I give you permission to touch me. You may start cleaning now." As she lies there, she thinks, this reminds me of my mother. She used to clean my ears while letting me lie in her lap like this. However, as soon as Yuji touches her ear, Kanan realizes he has pressed on a very sensitive pressure point. She has to tightly close her mouth to suppress her voice. Yuji starts cleaning her ear, but the deeper he goes with the ear cleaning stick, the more overwhelmed she feels. Meanwhile, Ami is watching from outside, having the time of her life. She cheers quietly, "Yes, do more, make her cry." While cleaning, Yuji says, "Senpai, your ears are very cute." Yuji realizes he can feel Kanan's breasts against his thighs, which makes his heart race. Kanan is on the verge of losing consciousness and thinks, I won't be able to hold myself back. Yuji then grabs her ear and gently rubs it. Kanan starts losing complete control and thinks, if you keep doing this, I'm going to fall entirely in love with you. Finally, the ear cleaning is done. Kanan feels a wave of relief because she somehow managed to stop herself from moaning out loud. Yuji asks her, "So tell me, senpai, how do you feel after getting your ears cleaned?" To save her pride, Kanan lies, "I don't feel anything special. Your cleaning skills are just average." Yuji takes this seriously and says, "That means I'll have to go deeper and be more careful while cleaning your other ear." After that, we are shown Nadeko, who is looking for Yuji. Just as she passes by the discipline committee room, she hears Kanan screaming inside. She hears Kanan say, "Yuji, you're putting too much in," and Yuji replying, "Senpai, if you keep moving like this, it will break." Then Kanan lets out a very loud scream. Hearing this out of context, Nadeko trips and falls to the floor in pure shock. Just then, Kanan opens the door and runs out, yelling back, "Actually, your skill is very good." Ami nods and says, "Man, these two are just one step away from getting physical." Nadeko, completely misunderstanding the situation, is left sitting there in disbelief. A little while later, a new scene shows Ami sitting in a tub of cold water wearing a swimsuit. She tells Kanan, "You should come in here and have some fun too." Kanan replies, "No, I'm fine, but I don't know why the AC had to break down today of all days." Yuji arrives and asks, "Senpai, did you call me? Do you need my help?" Kanan replies, "I didn't call you." Ami interrupts, "I called him." Yuji gets extremely excited seeing Ami in a swimsuit. Ami starts showing off her poses, making Yuji even more excited. Ami turns to Kanan and teases, "Looks like your boyfriend really likes girls in swimsuits. My lady, you should wear one too." Kanan refuses, saying, "That doesn't suit a noble devil like me." But then she notices Yuji continuously taking photos of Ami. Seeing this, Ami provokes Kanan even more. Finally giving in to her jealousy, Kanan says, "Fine, I'll wear one too." She changes into a swimsuit and both Yuji and Ami get very excited. Flexing proudly, Kanan says, "You can consider this a reward. Sit there and admire my style." Yuji obediently sits like a dog and watches them splash in the pool. But Kanan suddenly feels like Yuji is staring at her so intensely that his gaze feels like a physical touch. Frustrated, she covers his eyes and says, "You pervert, stop staring at me so hard," doing it so forcefully forcefully that she accidentally hurts Yuji's eyes. Ami defends him, "My lady, he was just looking." But Kanan argues, "No, he was touching me with his eyes, make him leave immediately." Yuji agrees, but before going, "I have to put my face in Senpai's chest." Kanan yells, "I told you to get out of here." Yuji says, "Okay, okay," and turns to leave. But as soon as he steps forward, his foot slips. He falls straight onto Kanan and his head lands perfectly in her chest. Yuji muffledly says, "Senpai, I can't see anything. Why did the world become so dark?" Kanan slaps him hard and yells, "Don't move around so much, you pervert." Yuji tries to run away, but his foot slips again. This time, Kanan trips and falls right on top of him, landing in a very awkward and compromising position. Ami seizes the moment, snaps a picture and teases, "My lady, before you start all this, you should take your boyfriend to the bedroom." Kanan and Yuji both scream in unison, "Absolutely not." Later, Ami changes back into her school uniform so no one gets suspicious. Determined to force Kanan and Yuji into physical contact, she keeps setting up traps and obstacles in their path. Because of her traps, Yuji and Kanan keep falling onto each other. However, instead of getting romantic, Kanan just ends up slapping Yuji every time. Ami gets frustrated and says, "I can't take this anymore. I am going to bring you two together right now." She drops a massive mattress on top of them and starts pressing down on it. The heavy weight throws Yuji off balance and he gets pushed right up against Kanan. Yuji struggles and says, "Senpai, I won't be able to hold back any longer." Kanan yells at Ami, "What are you doing, Ami?" Ami happily replies, "I want to see an accidental kiss happen." As they keep kicking against the mattress, Yuji's balance completely gives out. This makes Kanan furious. She transforms into her devil form, uses her horns to blow the mattress away, and violently sends Ami flying. Furious, Kanan marches toward Ami and threatens, "What do you think I should do to you now, Ami?" Ami defends herself as a succubus. "I just wanted to see you two get into a physical relationship, and I swear I will make it happen." Kanan yells, "Have you lost your mind?" Meanwhile, Yuji sighs in relief, "Thank goodness I was saved. Otherwise my face would have been ruined." Kanan snaps at him, "Stop your nonsense." Later that evening, after Kanan finishes her duties, Ami says to her, "My lady, I don't think you have any sex appeal or attraction at all." Kanan gets offended and asks, "Why do you think that?" Ami points out, "Because I've noticed Yuji never tries to get physical with you." Kanan defends herself, "That's only because I never gave him the chance." An evil smile creeps onto Ami's face and she suggests, "Then why don't we test that theory?" Kanan is taken aback but agrees. That evening, Yuji comes to Kanan's room to pick her up. When he walks in, he sees Kanan lying on the bed, seemingly asleep. Yuji smiles gently and says to himself, "Senpai must have been very tired, so she fell asleep." But Kanan is completely awake, waiting for him to make a move. Suddenly, Yuji starts taking off his shirt. Seeing this, Ami gets incredibly excited and Kanan is shocked, thinking her plan worked, but their excitement is instantly shattered. Yuji simply takes off his shirt to gently drape it over Kanan like a blanket so she won't catch a cold. Kanan thinks to herself, "I left myself completely vulnerable and he is still acting like a perfect gentleman. I have to push this further." She shifts her body into a much more alluring position. This immediately makes Yuji excited, but to fight his urges, he drops to the floor and frantically starts doing push-ups and exercises to distract himself. Refusing to give up, Kanan shifts into an even more seductive pose. Yuji starts exercising even faster, desperately trying to control himself. Seeing this, Kanan feels terrible on the inside. She thinks, "He would rather work out than touch me. I really don't have any attraction at all." But just then, Yuji stops. He slowly reaches out and gently touches Kanan's cheek. For a brief second, he gives in, but then he snaps back to his senses, panics, and screams, "What did I just do? Senpai is sleeping." He runs out of the room screaming in pure panic. As he runs down the hall, he bumps right into Nadeko. Nadeko confusedly asks, "What is Yuji doing?" Back in the room, Ami walks up to Kanan and sighs, "He is a massive loser. You left yourself completely exposed and he still didn't do anything." But then Ami notices Kanan's face. Kanan is blushing deeply and smiling. Kanan whispers triumphantly, "You are a very bad boy, Kyoyugi-kun. You finally gave up in front of my attraction." Seeing Kanan so thrilled by that tiny gesture, Ami shakes her head and mutters, "She gets so happy over the smallest things." After that, the next day's scene is shown where a transfer student has arrived. The teacher asks the girl to introduce herself, but the girl is overjoyed to see Yuji and says, "Finally, I found you." She rushes toward him but trips and falls. She quickly gets up and says, "Finally, I found you. I have come here to protect you." Yuji asks, "So, who have you come to protect me from?" The girl dramatically says, "From a dangerous devil." Yuji sighs and says, "Leave all that aside. Do you realize everyone is looking at your panties?" The girl replies, "Why shouldn't they look?" Nadeko says, "Yeah, they absolutely shouldn't look." After that, Yuji takes the girl to the nurse's office. The doctor checks her and says, "I don't know what's wrong with this girl, but I think it could be a serious mental condition." The girl declares declares, "My name is Jean and God has sent me from heaven to protect your soul." Hearing this, the doctor says to Yuji, "I think you should just listen to her. Let her protect you. She will eventually get tired and stop on her own." Jean then says, "Now I have to perform an exorcism to save you from the devil." She reaches into her purse to take out a bottle of holy water, but she realizes it's empty. Because of this, she pushes Yuji onto the bed and says, "I heard that if you exorcise something with your spit, it becomes heavily protected." Then she starts gathering saliva in her mouth. Yuji panics and yells, "What are you doing? Are you going to spit on me?" The doctor casually says, "Okay, you guys keep going, I'll just close the curtains here." Yuji shouts, "Save me, doctor," and starts struggling to free himself from Jean. Just then, Kanan passes by the nurse's office. She hears a loud scream coming from inside and quickly rushes in. When she enters, she sees two people moving around on the bed behind the curtain. The doctor calmly says, "Let them be, they're just having fun." Kanan is horrified and says, "That can't be, I can't let them do such dirty things in school." Meanwhile, Jean is saying, "If I can't protect your soul, I won't be able to go back to heaven." Kanan pulls the curtain back, but looking at the scene in front of her, she gets completely furious. She threatens, "Now I'm going to bite it off." Yuji screams, "What are you talking about biting off?" Suddenly, Jean gets overwhelmed by the pressure and faints. Yuji jumps up, grabs Kanan and cries, "Senpai, save me." In his panic, he accidentally starts rubbing his face against Kanan's chest. Kanan asks, "Do you know this woman?" Yuji quickly replies, "No, I don't know her at all." Kanan asks, "But why did she faint?" The doctor checks Jean and says, "Maybe she's just hungry." After that, they take Jean to the cafeteria to eat. She eats her food incredibly fast, but as Kanan watches her, she starts feeling a strong positive energy radiating from her. Kanan thinks, "Did God find out that I'm here to eat human souls? Did he send an angel to catch me?" But then, looking at Jean's weird behavior, Kanan reconsiders, "Never mind, I don't think she's an angel." After Jean finishes eating, Kanan asks her, "Who are you and what do you want with Kyoyuge-kun?" Jean proudly states, "My name is Jean. I have been sent here by the order of an archangel from heaven to save Yuji's soul." Hearing this, Kanan is genuinely shocked that Jean really came from heaven. Yuji, however, is skeptical and says, "If you are an angel, then where are your wings and halo? Is this just cosplay?" Jean looks confused and asks, "What is cosplay? But people from heaven have the mark of stigmata." "Wait, I'll show you." She starts lifting her skirt. Kanan panics and yells, "Why are you lifting your skirt?" Jean casually explains, "Because the mark is right below my navel." Kanan argues, "But you can't just show your underwear to everyone." Jean replies, "But there is no problem with this." Kanan asks in disbelief, "Aren't you ashamed?" Jean says, "I'm doing this so that Yuji believes me." Just then, Yuji pulls out his phone and starts recording a video of Jean, saying, "Yes, you have to prove your words." Kanan furiously tells Yuji to shut his mouth. Jean pulls her panties down slightly to show the mark. Yuji instantly starts taking pictures of it rapidly. Kanan is completely stunned, realizing Jean actually is from heaven. Yuji praises her, "Your cosplay is really detailed." Kanan thinks to herself, "Does Kyoyuge-kun still think this is just a cosplay?" Suddenly, Jean grabs Yuji and pulls his face into her large chest, saying, "I will provide support to Yuji's soul with my divine mercy." Kanan angrily yells, "Keep your heavy things away from Yuji, you shameless pervert." Jean is surprised and asks, "What is shameless? By the way, what does pervert mean?" Kanan declares, "Yuji-kun is mine and I won't give him to anyone." Hearing this, Yuji gets incredibly happy. Kanan realizes what she just said and tries to backtrack, saying, It's not what you think." But right then, Kanan feels a terrifying aura behind her. The aura is radiating off Jean's body. Jean glares at her and says, "What do you mean by yours? Are you claiming you're right over him? Is that what you are?" Kanan thinks, "She found out that I am a devil." Kanan prepares herself to summon her weapon and fight. But suddenly, Jean's expression changes and she says, "Do you mean you are in love with Yuji? Really, love is such a beautiful thing. Oh God, please bless these two so they can be together for life." Kanan is utterly confused and asks, "Do you even know what devils look like?" Jean nods confidently, "Yes, of course, I even have a photo." She takes out a photo and looks at it, then she looks at Kanan, then she looks at the photo again. Suddenly, her eyes widen and she points at Kanan, shouting, "Oh, you are that same devil." She pushes Yuji behind her and says, "Yuji-kun, stay away from her, she's after your soul." But Kanan argues back, "I told you to keep your chest away from him." Jean retorts, "I won't let you trap Yuji." Kanan replies, "You are the one who is trying to trap him. Look at how you were just sitting on him." Kanan grabs Yuji and pulls him to her side. Kanan glares at Jean and says, "You are really a massive pervert." Jean asks, "What is a pervert?" Kanan explains, "A pervert is someone who instigates people into doing dirty things. Just like you, are you sure you aren't the devil?" Hearing this, Jean is deeply shocked. After school, Kanan and Jean get into a tug-of-war over Yuji. Both declare that they will take Yuji with them. Yuji thinks to himself, am I really this popular? Jean pulls Yuji close to her again and says, I will save you. Because she pulls him so tightly against her chest, Yuji starts losing his breath and his condition worsens. Kanan yells, stop it right now. Jean grabs Yuji's hand and says, come with me. She starts running away with him. Kanan chases after them, fuming. She thinks, I haven't even held Yuji's hand yet, and she is running away holding his hand. She runs faster, but while running, she worries, wait, if I hold Yuji's hand, will I get pregnant? No, I can't give up. Just as Kanan reaches out to grab Jean, Jean suddenly disappears from her sight. Then, Kanan hears a voice from behind her saying, you disgusting devil, what have you done to me? I can't move forward. Kanan looks back and sees that Jean's skirt got completely tangled in a thick bush. Kanan sighs and says, okay, I'll help you out, but promise you won't run away from here. Jean refuses, stating, I have already dedicated my body to God, therefore I will not surrender it to a disgusting devil. This makes Kanan furious. She grabs the back of Jean's skirt and pulls hard. Because of the angle, the bush starts hurting Jean in a very sensitive spot. Kanan says, I won't let you bother me anymore. Jean tries to force her way forward. Kanan warns her, don't do that, otherwise your skirt will tear. But Jean doesn't listen at all. She puts all her strength into moving forward, causing her skirt to rip completely. The recoil causes her a lot of pain. Jean cries out, a disgusting devil has made me dirty. I won't let you get away with this. She then crawls away awkwardly as she had injured herself in a delicate place. The next day, when Kanan arrives at school with Yuji, she ties him to a chair and barricades the area from all sides. She prepares a trap so that when Jean comes, Kanan can teach her a good lesson. However, evening approaches and Jean never shows up. Kanan gets frustrated and says, fine, I'll go find her myself. She brings Ami along, and when they reach a certain alleyway, they find a small cardboard house. The two of them go inside to investigate. To their surprise, instead of fighting devils, Jean is giving divine blessings to random men in exchange for small snacks, but her way of blessing them involves pressing them against her chest. Jean eats the snack she was given and looks incredibly happy. Kanan yells, what are you doing here? Jean is startled to see her and asks, why are you devils here? Kanan replies, that's what I should be asking. What are you doing here? Completely ignoring Yuji. When Kanan steps outside the cardboard house, she sees a massive line of men waiting. A few gangsters from the line step forward and complain, madam, you're cutting the line, we've been waiting here for a long time. Then the gangsters get highly emotional, crying, our dear goddess has shown us the light, we just want to be graced by her presence. Kanan mutters, what is all this nonsense? She easily picks up the gangsters and throws them far away. Jean cries, don't scare away my customers, how will I eat? A little while later, Jean sits down looking very depressed and says, you've shut down my food supply. How am I going to eat now? Kanan coldly replies, I have nothing to do with you, just go back to heaven quietly. Jean sighs, I can't go back until I finish my mission, though I wish I could. You know, you don't have to do any work in heaven, you just sleep and eat and no one complains. But then she suddenly snaps back to reality and says, wait, I can't ignore you, because you want to swallow Yuji's soul. Kanan replies, no, I actually won't eat his soul for a while. Jean asks, but why not? Hearing this, Kanan feels extremely shy and struggles to give a proper answer. Suddenly, Ami steps out from behind Kanan and announces, because my lady currently needs to do socks with him. Jean tilts her head in confusion and asks, what is socks? She starts asking detailed questions about it. Kanan backs away, completely flushed red with embarrassment. Despite her shyness, Kanan tries to vaguely explain that it involves kissing and doing other intimate things. But Jean is completely clueless and keeps asking deeper questions, making Kanan so embarrassed she can't even speak. Ami interrupts and bluntly says, my lady needs to mate with him. Jean is horrified and says, mate? But that is what horses and dogs do to each other. To educate her, Ami pulls out adult videos and books and shows them to Jean, explaining exactly what it means. After seeing the explicit content, Jean's mind is completely blown. She is deeply shocked and overwhelmed with embarrassment. She stumbles outside, falls to her knees, and starts sobbing uncontrollably. It seems her total innocence and pure childhood mindset were just completely destroyed. After that, the scene shifts to the school the next day. Jean is staring blankly at a wall, muttering to herself. It looks like she is trying to process the videos Ami showed her. Yuji looks at her and asks Kanan, what happened to Jean? Why is she acting so spaced out today? Kanan dismissively says, just leave her be. Then Kanan's eyes fall on Yuji's hand. She gently reaches out, holds his hand, and says while blushing deeply, come on, we should go home now. Yuji smiles brightly and happily walks home holding her hand. Then the scene of the next day is shown, where Jean has come to school wearing a sailor uniform instead of the standard school uniform. Kanan asks her, why did you come wearing this? Jean replies, replies, you know that you have to wear a uniform to come to school, Kanan points out, but this is not the uniform of this school. However, Yuji chimes in and says, Jean, you look very cute in this. Seeing them talking to each other so happily, Kanan gets extremely jealous and angry. She decides right then that she will teach Yuji a good lesson. After that, Kanan is seen packing in the discipline committee room, feeling very anxious. She says to herself, it might be a little embarrassing to go in front of him like this. We then see that she is also wearing a sailor uniform. Yuji walks into the room, looks at her, and says in surprise, Senpai, what are you wearing? Seeing his reaction, Kanan gets extremely shy and says, wait, I am not ready yet, but Yuji starts moving closer to her, examining her outfit from different angles. Just then, Jean's voice is heard from outside the room. Kanan panics. She thinks, if Jean sees me like this, she will think I am copying her. She quickly grabs Yuji's hand and they hide together. When Jean walks in with Nadeko, they don't see anyone there. Suddenly, Jean drops on all fours like a dog and starts sniffing the air. She says, I can smell them in here. We see that Kanan and Yuji are hiding crammed together inside a nearby locker. Kanan whispers to Yuji, control yourself. Yuji whispers back, but Senpai, you are wearing such a cute dress and you are so close to me. How can I stop myself? Outside the locker, Jean sniffs closer and says, I can smell them coming from this locker. She reaches out to open the locker door, but Nadeko interrupts, saying, look, I found a chocolate wrapper here on the floor. Jean's attention instantly shifts. Wait, I will lick it clean, she says, and she closes the locker door without even looking inside. Inside the locker, Yuji asks, Senpai, why did you wear a sailor uniform? Kanan nervously replies, it is embarrassing for anyone else to see me in this uniform, but I thought maybe you would like it. Hearing this, Yuji hugs her tightly and says, Senpai, I didn't just like it, I liked it very much. Kanan feels very happy hearing this, but Yuji can't control himself anymore and starts leaning in closer to her. Right at that moment, Nadeko sends a message to Yuji's phone, causing it to buzz loudly. Startled, Yuji and Kanan lose their balance and clumsily tumble out of the locker onto the floor. Jean gasps and points at them, shouting, you two are giving birth to children in there. Kanan yells back, what nonsense are you talking about? Just then, Ami walks out of the adjacent room, adjusting her clothes, accompanied by the teacher from before. Ami casually asks, is my lady giving birth to children? Kanan furiously yells at Ami, what were you two doing in there? The scene shifts to the next morning. Kanan is lying face down on her bed, groaning. She thinks to herself, how am I going to face Kyoyugi-kun today? Yesterday was such an awkward situation. Ami calls out to her, my lady, you will be late for school. Kanan gets ready and steps outside where Yuji is waiting for her. He greets her with a cheerful good morning and they both start walking to school together. They get onto a very crowded train. Because of the crowd, every time the train jolts, Yuji and Kanan are pushed close together. Yuji notices that Kanan looks lost in thought. To cheer her up, he says, Senpai, why don't we just ride this train all the way to its final destination? The scene cuts directly to the beach. Kanan is shown playing happily in the ocean waves. She smiles and says, bringing me to the beach was a really good idea, but I can't believe that after everything that happened yesterday, you actually made me bunk school. You really are a bad boy, Kyoyugi-kun. Yuji looks a little shy. Kanan continues, to be honest, I don't know what you are planning right now. Yuji smiles and says, what planning? I just wanted us to do something that we will remember for the rest of our lives. Hearing this, Kanan misunderstands the situation completely. She thinks Yuji is implying he wants to do something physically intimate with her. Yuji gestures for her to come closer, but Kanan gets nervous and refuses to approach him. Yuji asks playfully, do you want me to carry you like a princess? He then scoops her up in his arms and walks over to sit down. Being held like that makes Kanan feel very good, but she is incredibly shy. She says, is it really necessary for us to do this right now? My lips are very dry. Yuji says seriously, yes, we have to do this right now. He then pulls out his phone and gets ready to take a selfie. Because Kanan thought he was leaning in to kiss her, she had puckered her lips tightly. Yuji snaps the selfie right at that moment. Looking at the photo, Yuji says, Senpai, you made a really cute pout. Realizing her misunderstanding, Kanan feels extremely awkward. Flustered and angry, she mutters to herself, how dare you play with the heart of an innocent devil? Just then, a speedboat speeds past them, sending a massive wave of water crashing down on both of them, soaking them completely. Looking at each other's dripping wet faces, they both burst out laughing. Meanwhile, back in the city, we see Ami perched at the very top of an electricity pole, scanning the area for Kanan and Yuji, but she can't see them anywhere. Then, she spots Jean below, sniffing the ground like a dog trying to track them. Ami uses a fishing rod to dangle a piece of chocolate right in front of Jean, luring her in. Ami says, if you want this chocolate chocolate, you have to tell me where my lady and her boyfriend went. Jean huffs proudly and says, I am not so easily bought that I would sell out for a small piece of chocolate. Ami shrugs and says, okay, no problem, I'll just eat it myself. As soon as Ami moves to eat it, Jean instantly caves in and agrees to help. While happily eating the chocolate, Jean tearfully looks up at the sky and starts apologizing to God for her weakness. The scene shifts to an internet cafe where Yuji and Kanan have gone so they can change out of their wet clothes. Yuji goes out, buys some dry clothes and brings them back. They step into a private booth to change. Kanan points at him and says, Kyoyugi-kun, swear to me that you won't look at me. Yuji promises, I swear, senpai, I won't look at you. Not trusting him completely, Kanan ties a blindfold over his eyes so he can't cheat. After that, they start changing. Yuji is clearly very eager and curious to see her. Outside the internet cafe, we see that Ami and Jean have tracked them down and are looking for them. Inside the booth, Kanan finishes changing and says, Kyoyugi-kun, you can remove the blindfold and look here. Yuji takes it off and looks at her. Kanan glares at him and asks angrily, where do you think you bought these clothes from? Yuji simply smiles and says, senpai, you look great in this. Kanan blushes and snaps, stop your nonsense. Outside the cafe, Jean gets completely distracted and extremely excited upon seeing a soft-serve ice cream machine. Right behind them, Kanan and Yuji quietly sneak out of the cafe. When Jean and Ami finally rush into the booth, they find it completely empty. Jean looks around the booth in awe and says, wow, so this is the internet. She then closes her eyes and seriously starts praying to the computer, hoping it will give her snacks. Ami looks at the empty booth and smirks, saying, looks like there must have been a lot going on between them in here. Later, Kanan and Yuji are walking down the street when Kanan notices a massive Ferris wheel in the distance. She asks Yuji what it is and he explains it to her. Kanan looks at it in wonder and says, I have never seen anything like this before. Yuji suggests, why don't we both go and ride it? Kanan tries to play it cool and says, well, if you're going to be so stubborn about it, let's sit in it and see. Once they are inside the Ferris wheel car and it starts moving, Kanan gets incredibly excited and is clearly having a lot of fun. Yuji looks at her and says softly, senpai, this morning I saw that you looked very upset. That's why I thought we should go out on a date. Kanan thinks Yuji is implying that he just wanted to have fun with her physically, but Yuji continues sincerely, I just wanted us to make some good memories together. Hearing this, Kanan feels deeply touched and extremely shy. Her entire perspective changes and she calms down. She thinks to herself, I really don't know the first thing about romance. She turns to Yuji and says softly, anyway, it wasn't that bad today. I really enjoyed it, so I hope you keep surprising me like this. I like hanging out with you, Kyoyugi-kun. Hearing this genuine confession, Yuji blushes deeply. Kanan immediately gets flustered, shivering slightly and says, what are you thinking? I didn't mean it like that. Yuji jumps up excitedly and cheers, I am so happy. Kanan yells, stop moving around so much, but Yuji is jumping with so much energy that the Ferris wheel car rocks violently. Kanan loses her balance, slips from her seat and falls perfectly into Yuji's lap. Before they can even process the romantic moment, Kanan looks out the glass window of their car. In the Ferris wheel car right behind theirs, she sees Jean and Ami. Ami is pressing her face against the glass, cheering, yes, my lady, fall right on top of him. Jean is frantically waving her arms, shouting, no, you can't have children with her in there. Seeing them, both Kanan and Yuji get extremely annoyed. Kanan groans, I can't believe they followed us all the way up here. Yuji sighs, I don't even know how they managed to get right behind us. Defeated but calm, Kanan sits normally next to Yuji. She sighs softly, man, all my energy is completely gone. Give me your shoulder. She gently rests her head on his shoulder. As they sit there peacefully, Kanan whispers, this is only until the Ferris wheel ride is over, okay? After that, the scene of the next day is shown. Nadeko and Yuji have come to ask Kanan for help so that they can pass their final exams, but Kanan dismisses them, saying, I am busy, so you guys should ask someone else. But Nadeko gets very serious and says, Kanan-senpai, I want to learn from you because you are the most intelligent person in the whole school. Please teach me for the finals. Yuji then grabs the hem of Kanan's skirt and starts crying, please, senpai, help me or my summer break will be completely ruined. Please, Kanan-senpai, I beg you. They both start chanting senpai over and over again. Flattered, Kanan finally agrees to teach them and changes into a teacher's outfit. She says, I guess I have no choice but to teach you guys. Meanwhile, Nadeko is thinking to herself, I don't know why, but ever since I met Kanan-senpai, I haven't been able to get her out of my mind. Is this feeling love? Then she shakes her head and mutters, what am I thinking? After that, they sit down and get ready to study. Yuji mispronounces mathematics, so Kanan immediately starts scolding him. You low-class creature, you don't even know how to pronounce mathematics. Do you need to start over from primary school? Nadeko hears this scolding scolding and whispers to herself, I wish she would talk to me like that. Yuji and Kanan hear her mutter something and ask, did you say something? Nadeko quickly covers it up, saying, yes, I said that I also want to learn mathematics. Kanan says, okay, open your notebook, and goes back to scolding Yuji. Seeing this, Nadeko says, senpai, me too. Kanan looks at her and asks, what? Nadeko quickly changes the topic and says, oh, I mean, I have solved my problem. Kanan checks her answer and praises her, wow, you solved it very well. Nadeko feels really good hearing Kanan praise her, but then she feels like something is missing. She watches as Kanan goes back to Yuji and starts scolding him again. Nadeko thinks to herself, if I solve it wrong, she will scold me too. So, for the next question, Nadeko deliberately writes the wrong answer. Kanan checks it, but instead of scolding her, she says gently, okay, it's alright. Your method is not wrong, but you should just take it a little slowly. Hearing this gentle tone, Nadeko blushes but feels disappointed. Kanan doesn't understand what is wrong with her. Kanan goes back to Yuji and starts yelling at him because he was getting the answers wrong again. Seeing this, Nadeko thinks, I guess I have to make even bigger mistakes. She purposely messes up again and asks Kanan to check it, but Kanan still doesn't scold her. Suddenly, Yuji stands up and shouts, senpai, my limit is reached. I can't study anymore. Kanan yells, have you lost your mind? Nadeko then interrupts and says, senpai, if I make mistakes, you should scold me too. Kanan looks at her in disbelief and thinks, I think this one has lost her mind too. Speaking in a very soft tone, Kanan says to Nadeko, you should take a little break. Hearing this, Nadeko starts crying and says, senpai, it's not that, I want something else. Kanan asks, why are you crying? Nadeko confesses, senpai, you are only flirting with Yuji. That's why I want you to do the same with me. Scold me too. Kanan feels incredibly awkward hearing this and simply says, you are a fool. Hearing this insult, a highly satisfied smile finally appears on Nadeko's face. After that, the night scene is shown. Kanan has come home and is taking a bath. Suddenly, her fake human mom gets a phone call from Kanan's real dad, Beelzebub. He says, I want to talk to my daughter. Kanan's fake mom argues, you are mistaken, she is our daughter. Then, Kanan's real mom takes the phone from her dad and starts arguing with Kanan's fake mom. Overwhelmed, Kanan's fake mom hangs up the call. She rushes to the bathroom door and cries, Kanan-chan, I just got a call from your mom and dad. Really, Kanan-chan, you have disappointed me so much. Kanan tries to clarify, wait, it's not what you think. But her fake mom cries, Kanan-chan, I can't believe you went out and got yourself a sugar daddy and a sugar mommy. Saying this, she runs away crying. After that, the scene jumps to after the final exams. Yuji is very happy because his exams went very well, meaning he can enjoy his summer break. He goes to thank Kanan. But when he says thank you, Kanan suddenly wraps her arms around his neck, presses her head against his chest, and starts affectionately rubbing against him like a cat. Yuji is very confused and doesn't understand what has gotten into her. Ami explains to him she is just feeling lonely because she won't be able to enjoy her summer break like you guys. Yuji asks, but why is that? Ami replies, because my lady has been called back to hell, that's why she is so sad. Kanan blushes and makes an excuse, no, I just feel that if I leave, my slave will start misbehaving. And anyway, Yuji, you seem very excited to finally get rid of me. But Yuji sincerely says, no, senpai, I wanted to enjoy my summer break with you. Hearing this, Kanan feels very happy, but she sighs and says, but I won't be staying here. Yuji enthusiastically suggests, then why not let me come to hell with you, senpai? Kanan actually likes this idea and says, okay. But Ami interrupts, my lady, don't you know, if a human goes to hell, their skin is peeled off and they are turned into juice. Kanan realizes this and says, yes, you are right. She turns to Yuji and says, look, if I take you there, I will be going against the rules of hell. In hell, my family is at the highest level of authority, but if you are insisting on going with me, then I can't refuse you. Yuji gets even more excited and says, yes, senpai, I want to go with you. Kanan sighs happily, how can I refuse your innocent face? Ami interrupts again, but my lady, how will you take him? And what will Lord Beelzebub say? Kanan completely ignores Ami. She is lost in her own thoughts, saying to herself, I don't know what Yuji would like to do in hell. Maybe I should ask him. Ami looks at the love-struck expression on Kanan's face and thinks to herself, I have never seen such expressions on my lady's face before. The next day, Yuji, Ami, and Jean go shopping with Kanan. Kanan glares at Jean and asks, what are you doing here? Jean replies, wherever Yuji goes, I have to go with him, otherwise you will possess his soul. Kanan ignores her, checks her shopping list, and says, now I just have to buy a swimsuit. Yuji gets very excited hearing this. Ami explains, in hell there is only one specific lake where a human can safely survive. Just then, Nadeko also shows up and says hello. Kanan scowls and says, what are you doing here, you low-level creature? Nadeko looks highly satisfied hearing the insult. Ami sighs, what is wrong with her? When they arrive at the swimsuit shop, Ami says, let's all choose a good swimsuit for ourselves. When we are done, we will show them to each other. Everyone goes to pick out a swimsuit. When they are all done changing, Yuji is tasked with looking at them and deciding which one looks the best. First, he looks at Nadeko, who has chosen a literal slave-themed swimsuit complete with chains. Nadeko blushes and says, I want Kanan to take me for a walk in this. Yuji facepalms and says, I don't know when my childhood friend turned into this. Let's move to the next one. Next, Ami comes out and shows off a very revealing and mature swimsuit. Seeing this, Yuji gets very excited and praises her highly. Then it's Jean's turn. Yuji looks at her and sees that she is wearing a weird pink pig-like swimsuit. He asks, why did you choose a pig swimsuit? A store clerk steps out from behind the curtain and says, no, it's not that. This miss asked me to choose a good swimsuit for her. But because of her amazing figure, I got jealous and angry, so I forced her to wear this one. And it's not a pig style, it's a boneless ham style. Now it is Kanan's turn, but she is too scared to come out. She had been listening to everyone from inside the dressing room and realized that the others chose very mature or extreme swimsuits. Because Kanan refuses to come out, Ami aggressively pulls the curtain back. Everyone sees that Kanan has chosen a very modest, cute, frilly swimsuit. Kanan blushes deeply and says, I know what you are going to say, Yuji-kun. But Yuji smiles widely and says, Kanan-senpai, you look incredibly cute in this. He praises her endlessly, making Kanan feel extremely happy. Later that night, the scene shifts to midnight. Kanan, Ami, Yuji, and Jean are boarding a magical train that goes directly to hell. After sitting on the train for a while, Ami, Jean, and Kanan all suddenly need to pee. However, no one wants to get up. Kanan refuses to go because she thinks getting up to pee would ruin her dignified reputation in front of Yuji. Jean refuses to go because she believes if she leaves, Kanan will immediately try to eat Yuji's soul. Ami refuses to go because she wants to stay and watch the awkward tension between them. Eventually, Jean can't hold it anymore. She stands up and says, I'm going to the bathroom. Seeing this, Kanan instantly climbs onto Yuji's lap and says to Jean with a smirk, think about it, Jean. Do you really want to take the risk of leaving me here completely alone with Yuji? Hearing this, Jean's protective instincts kick in. She forces herself to control her bladder and sits back down. Then, Kanan tries to leave, getting up from Yuji's lap. Yuji asks, Senpai, where are you going? Kanan lies, I'm just going to get my bag from the overhead rack. Yuji says, Senpai, you stay seated. I'll get your bag for you. He reaches up, pulls her bag down, and places it right on Kanan's lap. The sudden weight presses down on her bladder, causing her control to slip even further. Ami smirks and says, well, I've had my fun watching you two suffer. Now I should go to the bathroom. But the moment Ami stands up, Kanan swiftly kicks her in the shin. Ami sits back down in pain. Now all three girls are trapped in their seats, desperately holding it in. Yuji notices that all three of them look incredibly tense and panicked. To help them relax, he brings out a thermos of coffee. The narrator notes that coffee relaxes the body's muscles, which actually makes it much harder to hold in pee. Yuji pours a cup of coffee and offers it to Kanan. Because it is from Yuji, Kanan can't refuse it. She drinks the coffee and genuinely enjoys it. But a few moments later, the coffee takes effect. Kanan starts trembling and whispers, I think my final moments have come. Worried, Yuji gently shakes her shoulder, asking, Senpai, why are you saying this? Kanan desperately says, please, don't shake me. Yuji quickly lets go of her. Trying to distract herself, Kanan asks, Yugi-kun, if something happens to me or if I change and I'm not the girl you know anymore, will you still accept me? Yuji smiles and says, Senpai, I will accept you in any situation. Hearing this romantic line, Kanan feels very happy. Then Yuji stands up and says, alright, I'm going to the bathroom. Seeing him leave, all three girls instantly jump out of their seats and rush after him toward the bathroom. Amidst the chaos, Jean completely loses her battle and ends up wetting herself. After that, the scene shifts to hell. We see two of Kanan's sisters talking to each other. One of them says, I heard Kanan is coming back to hell, and she is bringing her human boyfriend with her. The other sister licks her lips and says, I really want to know, what does our sister's boyfriend taste like? And this part ends here. If you like this video, be sure to hype it up in the comments for the next part. If you hype the video, it will go viral. See you in another video. Thank you for watching.